Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Morning, Mr. President.
I don't think he can hear you.
I guess not. I guess we're still on mute.
Yeah. Man, looks like it's gonna rain all day today.
Yeah, I've got plants to get into the ground from the Forest Preserve sale.
Oh wow. Yeah, I got some to get in too that I gotten from a sale somewhere else.
They don't put themselves in the ground. You
No,
know?
they don't.
We do need the rain though.
Oh yeah,
We do.
you know,
We do.
all last week I have a rain gauge and we got a 1/4 inch. That's it.
That's not good.
I mean,
We got a whole lot more. We got 0.38. Wow.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
You have a fancier rain gauge than I do, I guess.
My husband's a techie nerd, and yes, it is quite fancy.
Oh man, now I'm jealous.
Ford, Strathman, Brown, Gums, online. Yeah, Berman or Fraz or Eric Sanchez. You didn't check with me. I didn't know you're coming down. How about that? You check the quorum? Okay. Well, the time being 8:30, yeah, get the right time here and the right guy. I'm Chris Caius, that's me. I'm a president of the Kane County Forest Preserve. This is calling the executive committee meeting to order this morning at 8:30. And can we have roll call, please?
Caius,
Caius present.
Bates,
Bates present.
Berman, Kenyon, Fraz, Martin,
present.
Molina,
Molina present.
Sanchez,
Here.
Winicky.
Present.
You have a quorum?
Okay, we have a quorum. That's great. Everybody likes to come to Forest Preserve.
Yep.
Anyway. And let's see, before I get into any official business, I'd like to.
I was going to make a motion.
Oh, you'll be next. Before I start, I'd like to introduce our new police chief, Paul Berger, recently hired. I don't know, Paul, if you want to come up and say anything, to say, and you can take, maybe since you can take your mask off so we'd recognize you. There we go. That's that good looking. guy.
I'm Paul Berger, new chief of police for the Forest Preserve. I started on Monday. I'm happy to be here. I worked in Des Plaines for 26 years. I ended up taking an early retirement incentive and on my 50th birthday and wasn't done working. So I'm happy to come on board here. I ended up leaving there as a deputy chief. I haven't met all the guys that I'm going to work with yet, but I've met a lot of the staff, and it's been nice. I feel comfortable, and I'm glad to be here. And my door is always open, so if anybody has any questions or wants to come see me or learn more about me, I'd be happy to talk to you on the phone or have you come in and sit down. I won't force you to wear a mask.
Great. Well, welcome. We're really happy to have you. It'd be great to see you in uniform.
I'll get them. I'm trying.
Okay.
My old ones.
Yeah, they don't apply, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, Mr. Kenyon moves that to approve, may I have a motion to second, a motion and a second to approve the minutes from April 1st, 2021 meeting, moved by Mr. Kenyon.
Wonnicki seconds.
Nikki seconds. Any comments, changes, questions about those minutes? Okay, can we have roll call, please?
Bates,
Yes,
Berman, Kenyon,
Yes.
Franz,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Molina,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Wonnicki.
Yes.
Okay, they're approved.
Motion passes. Minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Is there public comment? Anyone in the chambers or anyone online that would like to speak publicly? Don't have anything written, I don't believe. Give you a moment. Okay, thank you. Presentation and approval of the bills. May I have a motion and a second to approve the bills and commissioners per diem from April 2021? Moved by Mr. Franz, second by Mr. Sanchez. Any discussion? Nothing? Okay, roll call, please.
Bates,
yes,
Berman, Kenyon,
Yes.
Franz,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Molina,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Wonnicki.
Yes.
Okay, they're approved.
Motion passes, they're approved. Finance and Administration, one of our favorite Kens, Ken Stanish. I don't think Anderson heard that.
He didn't hear that in the back, so.
You have the floor.
Thank you. So as we've been doing since 2013 regarding our surplus equipment with an online auction, we are proposing with the list being presented here today of 8 items that we're looking to put to auction to garner some additional revenues. Included in your packet is the listing from last year's where you can see for the items listed the dollar amount the district received along with the number of bids. That totaled about $33,000. So we've consistently been doing pretty well with the auction house. We use public surplus as the entity. And when you can see for a 95 golf cart, we had 22 bids or 30 bids for an F-350. So we get pretty good exposure with this. So our recommendation is to have the commission authorize the listing and we'll go forward with a public auction for the items.
Great, thank you, Ken. May I have a motion and a second for the presentation and approval of surplus vehicles and equipment for this year? Mr. Kenyon moves.
Wonnicki seconds.
Ms. Winicky seconds. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bates,
yes,
Berman, Kenyon,
Yes.
Franz,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Molina,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Wonnicki.
Yes.
Okay, passes.
Okay, next on, the motion passes. Presentation approval of a bid for the Hughes Creek Golf Club parking lot project. Mr. Gorath, our favorite John. One of our favorite Johns, sorry, John Martin.
I don't need to be a favorite. Staff would like to provide the committee with information to consider the approval of a bid for the repaving of the Hughes Creek Golf Club parking lot. Commission approved in this fiscal year $296,000 for the repaving of this parking lot. It's approximately 52,000 square feet of pavement with 89 standard and 3 ADA accessible parking stalls. This project was divided into 2 different options. We were going, the first one was to remove the asphalt off-site and bring gravel in, or pulverize and recycle in place. And we chose the recycle in place option due to the fact that we did not know exactly how much base we had in this area. So the grindings will add to the base for the pavement. The bid was publicly advertised and sent out to 42 vendors with 10 responding. Champion Paving Corporation from Hampshire was the qualified lowest bid with a price of $108,000. Staff is also requesting a 10% contingency for this project of $10,855 to be approved also. So what we'd like to do is have permission to move forward with this project with Champion Paving being the low qualified bidder for $119,403.
May I have a motion and a second for the presentation and approval of a bid for Hughes Creek Golf Course Club parking lot project? Mr. Kane moves.
Raz seconds.
Ross seconds.
I have a question.
Mr. Martin, you have a question?
The area that's surrounded in blue, is that the asphalt pad?
Microphone, please, Mr.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes, that is the.
Microphone.
That's the area surrounded in blue, is that the asphalt?
Yes.
And that's going to be paved too as part of it, okay.
Any other questions here? Anybody online? Questions? No discussion I hear? Okay, roll call, please.
Bates,
Yes.
Berman, Kenyon,
Yes.
Franz,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Winnicke.
Yes.
It's approved.
Okay, motion passes. It's approved. Presentation and approval of 2021, 2022 proposed appropriation ordinance and budget. Is that right?
That is correct.
I thought I saw the other Ken get up there. That'd be Ken Standish again. No, you're
If you'd
good.
like to do that. You sure?
You're good.
All right. Yes, this is the information in the presentation that went through Finance Committee, and Monica and myself, I think, have met with everyone here regarding the budget. The only thing that's different in the packet now is the appropriation ordinance is included. The reason we wait on that is because the carryover projects within the 03 fund, we want to wait as long as possible because that dollar amount is continuously changing due to current projects that are being done as invoices come in. The dollar amounts that need to be retained adjust every week on a weekly basis. So the new budget has all of the carryover projects in it for the 03 fund, and now the appropriation ordinance is included as well. So, I mean, the highlights, the general fund is balanced at $9.85 million. It's a slight increase in revenues. Last year, the general fund was at 9.7. Property taxes increased about $235,000, but keep in mind the overall tax bill to the residents went down about $111,000. That's due to the refunding that we did last year, the 2020 issue. So those interest cost savings there more than offset this increase. Golf course revenues declined slightly due to Settlers Hill under renovation this year. And then slight increase in the state replacement tax. As far as the expenditure side goes, there's being a proposed 3% merit pool. The last time there was a merit was back in January of 2019. No new positions. Health insurance premiums actually went down 4.4%. So that's always a good thing. Any of the vehicles that are in there are all replacement vehicles. So that's really a quick snapshot of the general fund. And for construction and development, recommendation of an additional $2 million in projects. The Bruner improvements are being funded through KDOT. Pingree Grove Wetland Bird Habitat and then the Fabian Woods Migratory Bird Habitat are both grant projects. Our annual trail resurfacing is being done on the Fox River Trail in Elgin Township. And then we have the Prairie Recreation at Burlington for another $100,000. So those are the main new projects being proposed, but keep in mind, we have over $12 million of carryover projects within the 03 funds. So there's still a lot of work being done there. All of the other funds are budgeted in accordance IMRF, Social Security, things like that, in order to ensure adequate funding. Same way with the debt fund. That's in order to pay all of our obligations for our interest payments in June, and then our interest and principal payments in December. So therefore, really a pretty clean budget.
We like clean budgets.
Absolutely.
For those of us who are budget challenged, we appreciate clean budgets. May I have a motion and a second for the approval of the 2021-2022 proposed appropriation ordinance and budget. Moved by
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez, second. Kenyon. Any discussion? Online? Nothing? Roll call, please.
Bates,
Yes.
Berman, Kenyon,
Yes.
Braz,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Winnicki.
Yes.
Okay, it's approved.
Motion passes. Item D, presentation and approval of the Muirhead Springs Forest Preserve Wetland and Stream Mitigation Bank Credit Pricing. That would be our other favorite, Ken. Mr. Anderson.
Happy International No Diet Day to you all.
No.
So hopefully, if you're on a diet, you just stop. But,
Take a break.
before you have a
Store.
request to come up with a mitigation credit rates, I'm also going to update you a little bit. Muirhead Springs Forest Preserve is a forest preserve you can see from Route 47 as you're heading north. Our north operations is there as well. We've been in the process since 2018, working on developing a wetland and stream mitigation project at this location. You can see from the map there, all the different colors mean different types of vegetation. Kind of on the east side of it, you'll see the stream mitigation corridor that we are proposing, basically remeandering the ditch system that's there. So we have been working with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and the U.S. EPA. That's the main entities that are involved on this committee to try to get through their wetland mitigation banking process. We are there, so you can hopefully have a cheer of yes, it's finally done. So we're coming before you to request approval to set the rates for how we would sell the mitigation wetland portion as well as the stream portion. So you see in the packet there, the range is $50,000 up to $150,000 per acre for the wetland portion. And then the stream would be $250 per linear foot to $1,500 per linear foot. And the process works is if a developer or a governmental body impacts a wetland or stream, they'd be required under the Army Corps of Engineers requirements to mitigate that loss of that type of use. So they would come to us, we would have a contract, we'd negotiate a price that would then be sent to the Corps for approval. And that's how we would then take those funds and be able to, at some point in time, up to start the construction of this project. We can basically work through the process up to 20% of the monies that we get in. Once we get to that point, we need to start construction and doing some improvements to the property. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And we would come back every year to the Finance and Admin Committee to basically make sure that these numbers still work in the real world that we're dealing with.
Great. Thank you. Oh, by the way, just coincidentally, this is, I believe it's National Food Scrap Recycling Week as well. So that fits well into the all-you-can-eat buffet thing, I think. I'm not sure.
Could be no scraps today.
I have a quick question for Ken.
Just, I'll do this. May I have a motion and second for the presentation and approval of the Muirhead Springs Forest Preserve Wetland and Stream Mitigation Bank pricing? Moved by
Winnicki moves.
Winnicki, seconded by Braz. Questions, Ms. Winnicki?
Thank you. Just roughly how many acres are we offering for wetland baking?
It's about 200 acres.
About 200. That's good. Yeah, good move.
At 100,000 acre.
Mhm.
Mr. Martin?
When I used to do this kind of stuff, it was 40,000 an acre. Has that been a steady increase, or is it, is the change in the economy caused it to leap, or what's been the progression?
I think there's a variety of things. It's how many bankers there are out there with banks. As you have more bankers, it seems like the price starts to go down a little bit. And then when the bankers are less or they're getting closer to the end of their credits available, then they kind of float up and down. So that's why the range is so I mean, right now, I would imagine it's about 80,000 is probably a good number for mitigation for wetlands.
Thanks.
Mr. Kenyon?
Do you know of any other forest reserves who are doing this?
Yeah, McHenry County is doing this.
But they doing this through the conservation people?
Right, McHenry Conservation,
But
right.
it's not a forest reserve.
And I've heard Lake County is talking about doing one. But right now, we would be the only one in Kane County that has stream mitigation credits available. So we're,
Always leading the way, Kane County Forest Reserve.
May I ask a question?
Ms. Bates?
So this is a one-time payment, correct? Or yearly?
right, when we deal with a wetland impact, that someone has, that'll be a one-time payment. Then they've met all their requirements according to the Army Corps of Engineers. And it would be, whoever asked for the credit is done with the process.
Okay.
So the credits can only be sold one time.
Mike, please.
The credit can only be sold one time.
Your
Oh, sorry.
mic-
The credit can only be sold one time.
Oh, too bad. Thanks.
Yeah. You get a lend
I
lease?
got a little racket going here.
I have one more.
Mr. Martin again?
And do we actually do, the Forest Preserve does the mitigation?
We'll have a third party do the construction.
Okay.
And then once we get to a certain point, we will probably take over maintenance of that.
Okay.
But the construction would be done by a third party.
And there is ongoing maintenance in the long term,
Right.
but much less as time goes by. Ms. Winnicki?
Well, I do have to add that Campton Township Open Space along Thurston Creek over in Gray Willows, they've had a wetland mitigation program, and I think it's coming near the end, actually. And it's been very, very successful. It's really a good opportunity and a good direction to go in.
May I ask one more question, Mr. President?
Ms. Bates?
I think it's a short question. Do we know that the new wetlands are just as provide the same ecosystem services as the old ones, the original wetlands?
Well, the area we are doing these wetland mitigation in is presently farm field. So
Wow.
whatever we do, we will be improving the ecosystems for them.
Awesome. Thanks.
And if I might add, it's for mitigation for projects in our area within a certain distance, right?
So the Corps has certain requirements for within the watersheds. So we're in a Fox River watershed, so we would be involved in those type of mitigation requirements.
Be close related. Okay, any other questions online? In the chamber? Hearing none, seeing none. May I have roll call, please?
Bates,
Yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Kenyon,
Kenyon, yes.
Braz,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Winnicki.
Yes.
It's approved.
Motion passes. Okay, on to land acquisition. The presentation approval of identification sign easement agreement with the city of Geneva. Mr. Anderson again.
Yes, the city of Geneva came to us and requested permission, authority, or agreement to install two monument city identification signs. One would be the northeast corner of Route 25 and Fabian, and the other would be the northeast corner of 31 and Fabian. In the packet, you'll see what they're proposing to do. Staff had worked with their staff to update their planning list to be more native, because we are doing some restoration to that northeast corner of Fabian and 31. There would be no cost to the district for these improvements. The district would, basically through the agreement, the city of Geneva will do all the maintenance at those corners, Fabian and 31 and 25. We've reviewed this and staff has recommended that the committee approve it as well.
May I have a motion and a second for the presentation approval of an identification sign easement agreement with the city of Geneva?
Martin moves.
Martin moves.
Berman second.
Berman seconds.
Question.
Comments, question, Mr. Froz?
At the last meeting, Mr. Brown reminded me that transportation has a long-term plan in effect for that intersection, and I think you were requested to check with KDOT.
Yeah, so I was part of a public discussion with KDOT, and I brought that issue up to them, and they were supposed to have a meeting with the city of Geneva, and it should have happened like the next day after me. So they need to make sure that whatever they're proposing will not have an impact for those improvements associated with.
Okay, so today we would approve it, but it'd still be subject to KDOT and Geneva agreeing.
Well, Geneva's already agreed to this, but they may have to move something to make it happen.
Yeah, before it's installed, they just need to
Yeah.
work with KDOT to make sure that.
So they'll be working, well, I guess what I'm saying is Geneva's going to work directly with KDOT, not via the Forest Preserve.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
In their court. Mr. Martin?
I don't know if this is an environmentally sensitive question, but for decades, there was a huge enclave of muskrats or something at that corner. Those of us who drove by it all the time used to laugh about whether or not the intersection
Or
was.
woodchucks.
Woodchucks, whatever. Yeah, that's what they were, woodchucks.
I like it.
Did we ever get rid of the woodchucks, or are they? I mean, honest to gosh, you'd see them, and it looked like another world off in that corner. And we used to joke about whether that intersection was going to fall into the riverbank.
People used to slow down and throw food out their window to the woodchucks, and they would sit there on the side of the road.
I like woodchucks.
Well, that's why I said it wasn't a very
not
sensitive
surprised.
question. I'm just.
You know, that I've not heard about that, but I know we've done quite a bit of restoration at this corner. So we've probably removed some of their food source. So they've probably moved on.
Okay.
They have. There's no, I don't know of any woodchucks living out there now. I've been out there a lot the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
They may have chucked all the wood they could chuck.
But it's a taxpayer of Geneva. I just didn't want to see our sign fall into an abyss someplace.
In a moat.
Yep. Phil Lewis used to be a big proponent of fixing up that corner for years, so maybe we should call it the Phil Lewis.
Gonna have to rein in this discussion
Memorial.
here. Move this at the risk of something. Yes, Mr.
In
Kane.
our area, the coyotes take care of those
Yeah.
problems. It's kind of funny that you have so many down there yet. Because we used to have a lot of woodchucks, and now we have almost zero.
Biocontrol. Perfect.
They crossbreed with groundhogs and now they're ground chuck.
Ground chuck.
Mr. Davis on the line. Did you ask for permission to
We
talk?
woke him up.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I love puns.
Going back to the food scrap stuff. Is there any other pertinent discussion on this? I forgot what we're doing. Signs, yes. Signs, yes.
Woodchuck.
We have a motion and a second. May I have? Did you, Mr. Kenyon?
I move we count the woodchucks and then.
Colin,
You already did this. didn't
was
you?
that, you're calling for the question? Okay, roll call, please.
Bates,
Yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Froz,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Winnicki,
Yes.
passes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. On to item 7, planning and utilization. Number A, presentation approval of amendment to the Fox River Trail Union Pacific Railroad review fees. Mr. Anderson again.
Yes, before you have a request to add an additional $20,000 to the review fees that we have with the UP Railroad. This is for the Fox River Trail, the Raymond Street Tunnel project that's coming very close to being completed. So we're asking for that additional monies. There is funds available to cover that.
Okay.
Okay, Woniki moves.
May I have a motion and a second for the presentation approval of an amendment to the Fox River Trail Union Pacific Railroad review fees? Moved by Winnicki,
Second by Frost.
seconded by Froz. Any discussion? Questions or discussion online? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call, please.
Bates,
Yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Braz,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Winnicke,
Yes.
Root.
Motion passes. Thank you. Excuse me. Presentation and approval of the parking lot expansion design at Raceway Woods, Forest Preserve in Carpentersville. That would be our executive director.
Yeah, I'll
Monica
take
Marks.
that. Ken, you can stay there though, in case there's some questions. But this came up several months ago regarding looking at this parking lot location here at Raceway Woods Forest Preserve along Route 31. We've had quite a bit of congestion at this parking lot. You can kind of even see through the picture where you can see the vehicles. So President Caius, as well as Planning Utilization Committee Chair Winnicke, had requested that we look at this parking lot to see if there's anything we can do in terms of an expansion project. And so sitting down with Ken Anderson and John Gorth, they've gone out and reviewed the site along with Ben Habather to see what we could do at this location. And this is not a budgeted project currently. However, due to, again, the congestion that we're experiencing, we've evaluated it. We believe this is something we can do in-house. The cost would be approximately $20,000. We would look at doubling the size of the parking lot at this location. We would fund this through our contingency fund in the general fund. We're getting towards the end of our fiscal year. And so we believe it's safe to go ahead and release those contingency funds to make that happen. As an in-house project, then we would just have the materials. So Ken, if you want to kind of walk through the project.
Yeah, you see there, the exhibit shows we're going to put some concrete down to create the ADA compliant area right onto the path, and then have access to the shelter that's there. The ground naturally slopes from west to east towards Route 31. We've talked with the county. They've required a first flush. So you'll see there's a infiltration trench being put on the east side of the the new proposed parking lot, and that will infiltrate into the sand and gravel that's below. But we believe this gets us 62 spots for parking if people park properly. And you can see on the air photo, like Monica said, there's people parked, parallel to 31, and then in the subdivision access road up to the north there, you can see some cars. And you see some people on Route 31 just right across from the entrance. So the goal would be to park as many cars as we can in the facility. And we, like Monica said, we would do this in-house.
Now, I have reached out to the village of Carpentersville because we do have an intergovernmental agreement with the village. They actually maintain this parking lot. Years ago, they had requested the ability to take over the silo at this location so they could restore it, which they've done. We've given them the easement along the trail you see here, as well as the parking lot. And so we've asked for a partnership in this agreement in two ways. One, that they would continue to maintain the parking lot if we expand it in this nature. And then secondly, would they consider asphalting and striping the lot next year so that we could have even greater control over.
Status on the parcel that we purchased down to the south of here, didn't we buy a few acres?
Oh, at the top of the hill, we own it.
But is that for future parking? I thought it was along
Correct.
31, yeah.
It is along 31. In reviewing that lot itself, it's going to require quite a bit of engineering as well as work with IDOT. We don't know if they'll require turn lanes. We know there'll be extensive stormwater management infrastructure because at the top of the hill, we have to get the water down. It's going to be a more costly project that we would have to fund and quite honestly budget for, I think, in the long term. But to recognize the situation down here and to be able to solve it, we thought was a priority. Also, when I spoke with Carpentersville, they had said, well, we thought you were going to close this parking lot. And in talking with the commission, there really wasn't ever the discussion to close this because we have access to the silo at this location, as well as Camber, the bike group, accesses here. And with the IDOT improvements next to Miller Road, there's now a stub that comes from Miller Road to our property that we're going to connect into our trail. So there's still a lot of activity down here that warrants leaving this parking lot open and then making that other parking lot an additional one in the future.
Thank you.
Mr. Sanchez,
We
you
need
have
a
a comment?
motion on this first.
Pardon me?
Do we need a motion?
Well,
Second
oh,
first. I would move it.
may I have a motion and a second for the presentation approval of the parking lot expansion design at Raceway Wood Forest Preserve in Carpentersville? Mr. Sanchez moves.
Berman, second.
Berman, second.
And I had a question.
Now discussion. Sorry, I got out of
It's
order
okay.
there.
Are we gonna stripe it? Like, how are we gonna mark the spots for people to know where to park? Because it's just gonna
Well,
be
with a
gravel right
gravel
now?
lot, we won't.
Okay.
And so we can look at, there's actually a center row there that has parking as well as on the west side and the east side of the lot. We can put bumper blocks in the center. We can do some of that. But yeah, we're really encouraging it to be asphalted. So we're really hoping for the partnership.
Okay.
I have a question. How did it
Ms.
get,
Bates?
how did it get its name?
Raceway Woods?
Is there a racetrack? or-
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, this is the old Meadowdale Racetrack.
Oh, my gosh.
You should call her.
I'll tell her the history.
I invite you to come from the very southern edge of the county where you live up to almost the very northern edge of the county where this is, and I'll give you a tour of it. Yes, it was
Okay.
a racetrack through the 50s and 60s.
This is how I attend these meetings with my map. Okay, if you'll give me a tour, I'll come.
Maybe we'll give you a virtual tour then.
You can walk the racetrack, correct? I know I've
You can
walked
walk
it.
and bicycle the
Yeah, it's
racetrack.
very
Yeah, bring your
cool.
bike. It's a great ride. It's
It
It's
is.
actually a paved track. It's several curves, straightaways. It's a very interesting ride.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay.
All right, that's an invite. We'll set a date.
Right, we did a full renovation of the trail, of the
That's awesome.
track, and placed the trail on the track.
Wow.
Yeah, and for that very reason, it's very popular. And that's why we see this congestion on 31 with people crossing and because it is an easy walk up in there and very interesting. Strollers and bicyclists and all kinds of people.
Okay,
It's a great
good.
variety.
Neat.
Cool. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Discussion online? Questions? Hearing none, seeing none? Roll call, please, Gabby.
Bates,
Yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Braz,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Winnicke,
Yes.
passes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item 8, new and unfinished business. Is there any new or unfinished business? Okay, don't see any. Item 9, then I don't believe there's any need for a closed session. We're still shaking our heads on that one. Good. Then communications. I think we're at communications. Lori.
Here to talk about the plant sale again. We had our plant sale pickup on Saturday. The event went very well. We're still waiting on a final invoice from the plants, but we believe we brought in around $5,300, which is better than last year, which may not seem like a lot, but when you consider our plants are mostly $5 each, we did pretty well. Thank you to everyone who supported this event in any way, especially our community affairs staff and natural resource management staff. All of them were out there helping, save but a couple. And then thank you to Mr. Kenyon as well for his generous donation, and the plant sale proceeds benefit the Kane Forest Preserve Foundation. And we are going to do fish stocking with the proceeds this year. So I'll have more information on that once we have final numbers.
A lot of bass. That's great. Thank you. And comments? Yeah.
Mr. President,
Any other Ms. Bates?
the plants are beautiful, and I was in and out of that driveway in about 30 seconds. You are fast.
We
So
try.
thank you. But they haven't planted themselves yet.
Hey, self-planting plants.
We're going to
Communications.
charge a lot more for those.
That would be a real discovery.
Called
Ms.
Steve.
I
Winnicke.
think self-planting plants are called invasive.
Oh, yeah.
Weeds.
Lori, I can't seem to find it now. I thought I read something about a camping activity that's coming up. Am I correct? Is that something you want to talk
Yeah,
about?
it's a beginner camping program that's being
Yeah.
done through the Nature Center for beginners or for people that want to be reintroduced to camping. It sounds like a fun activity, so
It
it's a couple
does.
days.
Yeah.
And you get the camping list, the gear list, and they provide quite a bit of materials as well. And yeah, and you go out, you're going to meet up at Tomochichi.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's in our tree line.
Okay.
Gourmet
Thank
food. Did I read gourmet food in there or something?
Gourmet food
Gourmet hot
today.
dogs.
Gourmet
Eat
s'mores.
everything today.
That's right. It's all scrap food.
I'll scrap.
Gourmet
Excuse
s'mores.
me. S'mores, yeah, that's gourmet. Okay, thank you. President's comments, I'd like to back on thank you very much. Everybody was out there. They did a great job. It was our staff that put that together really well and the volunteers. And it was fast. It was very efficient for us that just drove through. And mine amazingly got planted, but I had to pay somebody to do it. And I'll bring pictures of my new pollinator garden, which I expect to be very proud of, and it'll be the Forest Preserve's plants in the front of our house. And other comment is that I think I'm going to go directly from this to we have a senior stroll down at Glenwood's
Glenwood Park
Forest
Forest Preserve.
Forest Preserve, just a couple miles down here at 10 o'clock, I believe, this morning. So those of you who fit in the senior category and like to go out for a guided tour, or even if you don't, Mr. Sanchez, come on down. Interesting walks with staff leading us along. Yeah. Great. And that was my comment for the day. Okay. May I have a motion and a second to place financial reports on file?
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez move.
Bates moves. Second.
Bates seconds. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Bates,
Yes.
Berman, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Roz,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Winnicke.
Yes.
It's approved.
Motion passes. I guess that puts us right down there with adjournment, doesn't it? Did we miss anything? No? So I have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Kenyon moves. Winnicke seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned
Thank you,
until
President.
June 3rd, 2021, 8:30 a.m.